Dance us to the end of love, ArtPod.
And then our open call participating guest artists. Some of you can raise your hands if you're one of the open call participating guest artists. So you've got work on the walls. That's you guys. Well done. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
We were asking our artists to make love visible. So love is everywhere. What does it look like? Sometimes love is grandiose, obvious, visible, and other times love is tiny, nearly invisible, implied, elusive, or unrequited. Sometimes it seems altogether lost. So if love starts with the self and then moves outwards, love reveals inner values and softness, hurts and connections. Love shares what is important. So we asked the artists to ask themselves, is art truly a love language? If so, then in what ways is this language expressed?
So this is Wilma Millette, and she's an award-winning francophone artist who lives on beautiful Vancouver Island, right in our midst, but slightly north. She holds a bilingual BA French and English from the University of Alberta and a B.Ed from the University of Victoria. She studied art history at university and has taught art to young children for over 30 years and organized and curated popular annual art exhibitions for her students in local cafes. She has won awards for her collage and assemblage work in juried shows, and she's been featured on 2 mini documentaries about Canadian francophone artists for Radio Canada. Her art has been featured on the cover of several art books and publications both locally and internationally, including International Faces of Collage in the US and Lamberton Magazine and Treasured Memories in the UK.
I use old papers and maps and found objects from the past, and I give them a new life and a new story. And because I'm using old maps, old texts, sometimes 200 years old photos, they already come with a sense of story. So then I try to make up a new one. But in my statements, I try to just give a hint of what I'm thinking and leave room for you to interpret. This is one of my portraits, the only one I've ever done with eyes shut, and it's called Tranquility, and it's about peace and calm. And it's my sister, who's no longer with us. And that was my wish for her at the end of life. So it's a very personal piece. This one here was based on a poem about reading, and it's kind of a deconstructed portrait where I did the eyes, nose, ears, and mouth on book covers, and then parts of books in the background, and a crown of vintage women reading. And the poem that I base it on is here. And hidden up in there are definitions of being lonely or on your own. So that was part of the poem.
We'll go around the gallery and talk, have the artists come forward and say a couple of sentences about either their process or the reason that they did it.
I'm sure we've all lost somebody in our lives that we loved, and the weird thing happens sometimes after they're gone. You can hear their voice in the wind, and so sometimes, I mean, Metchosin is beautiful. You take a walk out of the trees, and the wind is blowing, and you can hear their voice, and it's healing and cheery. Thus the paper.
Subtitles. So my language, I think you can probably tell, is a limited palette. There's often text in it. There's marks. There's gestural. And this one actually, it's wonderful how the text is always not fault. It's discovered. But this one, there is something buried here, and I found these words: obscure what is beneath them, and it says, anyway, there's something there, and that it doesn't matter. The person that actually bought it, doesn't matter to them what's buried there, as long as, if you can kind of communicate the feeling, that's helpful.
This was from life drawing class. We do every Tuesday we have life drawing, and so that was one of our life drawing sessions, and the other part of her was not in life drawing, so I'm just sort of trying to integrate what I'm doing. And then this was a camping trip, and I just loved the way they looked at each other.
To be an artist in residence with Ballet BC during one of their seasons, and I got to photograph 5 of their choreographic workshops, each with a different choreographer. And what I was focusing on was the connection between the dancer's love of dance and the choreographer's idea that they wanted the dancer to become the embodiment of. And the dance never emerged until there was some kind of a love connection between the choreographer and the dancer. And it was a very sometimes painful and sometimes joyful. And it was very hard, you can see, it was very hard to pin down and to make into an object that didn't move along the page. But it was a very passionate process to watch that intimacy take shape in the studio and eventually make it to the stage.
It's
way.
entitled Mum Brain.
Yeah, these are all lists. These are all lists from her shopping list, to-do list gathered over the last year.
Yeah, this speaks for itself. I love flowers, I love art, I love encaustic, I love life too. And the song was I can buy myself flowers, and it's perfect. Because when that song came out, I just thought, oh, that was written for me. And yeah, so there you go. Does it make you feel good? Yes, it does. Yeah.
Gotta love the bees. And these are digital works through Procreate and then printed with archival inks on archival quality paper. They're limited edition.